This show is produced by the Hartman Media Company. For more information and links to all our great podcasts, visit hartmanmedia.com.
Welcome to The Commercial Investing Show, where we analyze, explain, and exploit the opportunities presented in today's commercial property marketplace. If you're interested in apartments, mobile home parks, self-storage facilities, and other income property, you've come to the right place. We'll explore what's hot and what's not in markets nationwide in the relentless pursuit of return on investment. Here's your host, Jason Hartman.
It's my pleasure to welcome Nely Galan. She is former president of Telemundo, creator and producer of the Fox series The Swan. She was the first Latina president of entertainment for the U.S. television network and an Emmy Award-winning producer of over 700 television shows. She's founder of the Adelante movement to empower and train Latina and multicultural women, best-selling author of Self-Made, Becoming Empowered, Self-Reliant, and Rich in Every Way. Nely, welcome. How are you?
Oh my God, welcome to your show. I love it. Thank you so much.
Well, it's good to have you. It's good to have you. You obviously have spent a lot of time and you have a very rich and rewarding career in the media business. What are you doing in real estate? Have you made a transition from one to the other?
No, I think I've lived a parallel track. I think, first of all, I have worked in media and I'm very blessed because I have worked for major corporations. From the bottom up, worked my way up, and I don't want to dismiss that because I think a lot of people, we all dream about leaving our jobs, but, that time that you spend in a company or in corporate America working for others is very valuable because to me, it is the time where you go in there and that's your MBA. You're learning every day of your life what people do right and what people do wrong, how to scale a business on other people's money, and I think that's a valuable time that had I not had that time, when I finally eventually left, we sold the network and I started my own business, I would not have crushed it in my business if I didn't have all those times that I made mistakes on other people's dime, if I saw other people make mistakes in business, if I hadn't really every day, instead of feeling like a victim in those jobs, really took notes and really go, I better remember this for the future. And so I think that was very important. Also, in those years that I was in corporate America, I noticed that my bosses that owned huge companies were more concerned with the buildings that they bought, that the businesses were in. They were more concerned almost with that than with the business itself. And I started realizing I better start a side hustle here and I better start buying buildings. And in fact, I asked one of them once, how do you decide what to buy? And he says, well, whatever you do, buy commercial real estate over homes, especially for you that you're a woman and you're a Latina, because you're going to feel sorry for somebody if they, if God forbid they lose their job and you won't charge them if they're in the house. Whereas if you buy commercial real estate, you'll get companies to come in with lines of credit and all kinds of stuff, and you have a real shot at making money. Which, that's how I learned, the guy telling me that. And little by little, I lived beneath my means. I had a parallel track. So I always thought, television was like my mission. And real estate was my money. And I started, with $5,000, bought a little teeny building and just went from there and now own quite a few buildings and have done really almost better in real estate than in TV. But it's taken 20 years to do that.
That's amazing. And that's quite a TV career to compare your real estate holdings to. But when you say commercial real estate, I don't know what that means. Does that mean office, retail, industrial? What does it mean?
So I've bought a lot of different types of buildings. My favorite is an office building, but I also have storefronts, and I also own a church, of all things. So it is kind of a bunch of different types of buildings.
Interesting. So no apartments, though, or housing. See, I think the opposite. I love housing. I think it's the greatest asset class. And it's sort of surprising to hear.
I think it's very good. I think it is very good. It's not something I did on purpose for me. Yeah. Because in fact, the office building I own is a one company office building. I didn't want to have to collect money or managing companies that manage those kind of, I think it depends what your other business is. My TV business is like being in real estate in a way, because when you make TV shows I don't think people know this, but it's a combination of being a developer and a contractor. Developer in that you have to come up with the idea, and then contractor that you have to actually build the show.
Right.
So I didn't want to have the same kind of business in 3 different areas.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. You wanted to have some diversification. Good stuff. Talk to us a little bit about your media career, if you would. Let's kind of circle back to that. 700 television shows? I assume that means 700 episodes, right? Does that mean episodes? Yeah, right.
That's 700 episodes.
Right.
Yeah, episodes.
Okay.
But still, it's a lot.
Of course, it's a lot. How many shows is that, though? How many total shows would you say the 700 episodes was?
I don't even remember because some of them are one show and some of them are 20 episodes.
Right.
It's a lot, let me just say.
Sure.
But I think the reason I did that, and I think it goes back to I was employee number 1 of what is now the Latin TV revolution, right? I ran, when I was 22 years old, a rinky-dinky little Spanish TV station, the first Spanish TV station in New Jersey. And at that time, I was like Lisa Ling. I was a teenage reporter in Boston for CBS. I was a stringer. I'd go around the country interviewing people and then sending the interviews home for the news department, which still I was very young to even do that. And I got offered this job because I was Latina and I spoke Spanish, managing this rinky-dinky little TV station. And I remember thinking, oh my God, ew, I don't want that job. I'm at CBS. What do I want to do that for?
Right.
And I went to see the owner, who was Norman Lear. Those of us that are older know that he was a very big producer.
Certainly heard the name.
He and his partner had bought the station. And I said to them, I'm sorry, guys, but why would I want to do that? I'm going to be a network correspondent someday at CBS. And they both looked at me and laughed and said, young lady, are you rich? And I go, no. And they go, well, we're rich. And how is it that you don't know that being employee number 1 of what will be a multi-billion-dollar business, you can't help but succeed? The Latino market is going to be huge. And I was like, really? And I always say that maybe because I'm an immigrant, had I been like my own son that's had more in life than I had, I might have gone for the ego job, being a correspondent. But when they said that to me, I was like, these guys look like really smart and successful to me. And I quit my job at CBS, the greatest decision of my life. And I became employee 1 of a rinky-dinky little TV station. I did every single job in that company, worked my way up, and became the first woman president of the network.
Yeah, that's great. How many years, what year did you start there, and what year did you become number 1?
The trajectory started in, I would say, 1988, and the journey took me 10 years. And I became the president, and then we were able to sell the company to NBC, and then when NBC bought it, they offered me the deal to produce lots of shows for them because, again, I knew every little part of that business. I was an expert.
Yeah.
And I think, people have to understand that people that create niches and become experts in niches make a lot of money.
Sure. Of course they do. Yeah. Nely, would it be fair to say that part of your success was having the humility to do every job? There's an old joke about, hey, I'm the CEO, I'm chief cook and bottle washer, right? I do everything. You wear every hat.
You're right. Yeah, I think also, again, that's why I say that the idea of not being victimized when you work for other people, because every job you do, whether it's good or bad, teaches you something that eventually takes you to mastery, I think that doing any crappy job at anything you do, dealing with bad clients, dealing with bad bosses, dealing with companies that, are wasting money. Later on, you'll know how to buy companies that are wasting money.
Right.
I think all these lessons, every little humble lesson is leading you to becoming self-made.
Well, listen, you're from the media business. You know Hollywood. And so I love that saying, Nely, there are no small parts, only small actors, right?
It's true.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. What does feminism mean to you?
Well, I think to me, it's an important word in my interpretation of it because, my parents left communist Cuba when I was 4. We got here when I was 5. And, my parents came here for so many things, freedom of speech, this idea that in the United States was an incredible place to have a different life. And I don't take that for granted one day of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if I was me and I lived in Latin America or in India or in China, in places where there are, I mean, we have classes, but it's not the same, where there are caste systems, where women are, for religious reasons can't speak, I would never in one generation be self-made, ever.
Right.
So to me, the fact that I have been able to come to this country as an immigrant, work as hard as I have, and have the kind of career I've had and build wealth the way I have in one generation and be able to help my parents, to me, that is not the most beautiful manifestation of feminism. I don't know what is.
Mm-hmm. That word is thrown around a lot. There are certainly elements of it that are very positive, but I would have to say there's some pretty negative or hostile elements of that word. Do you recognize that? It sounds like you seem very grateful and centered about it.
I think when we talk about all words that are, polarizing, whether it's racism or sexism or ageism, there is a negative part or an angry part of all of it. I choose to look at the beauty of it because I do believe in opportunity and people having equal opportunity and people having the ability to have the greatest life they can have. I mean, the truth is that is not true in most parts of the world. And I think in this country, we have to fight for it.
Right.
And it's a constant fight. It doesn't have to be an angry fight. I believe that when you love something, and I love my country, you speak up when things are not going as well as they have in other times. But it doesn't have to be a hateful or angry thing. It's actually a loving thing.
Yeah, good. What else do you want people to know? Maybe a question I haven't asked you, or just any part of your career that you want to share, or success secrets?
Yeah, so I think I wrote Self-Made, Becoming Empowered, Self-Reliant, and Rich in Every Way, because I think I saw Sheryl Sandberg come out with the book Lean In, and I thought it was a very powerful book. But I realized that it was the story of a woman that went to Harvard, that left Harvard, that had 3 jobs, had a lot of mentors, and got stock. And she became a billionaire, and good for her. But I felt like there were so many other people in this country, men and women, who have had obstacle courses for life, whether it's that you're an immigrant or whether you're a single mom or whether you haven't had all the opportunities that other people have had. And I wanted to show people that this idea of thinking like an entrepreneur, whether you work for others or work for yourself, if every day of your life you're thinking like an owner and you also invest like an owner and understand that the whole basis of the American economy is based on making money while you sleep, then not only must you make money through your skills and your work, but also you have to invest money in the country, whether it's in franchises, stock, real estate, existing businesses. You have to reinvest your money in order to build wealth. And I don't think that's something that everyone knows or everyone understands.
Right. Yeah.
And I wanted to really bring back the idea that in the end, the starting point of this race, if you will, is you have to take personal responsibility for your happiness, your well-being, and your financial well-being. And so you really have to change your mindset to thinking like a self-made person.
Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, so thinking like a self-made person, anything more on that? I mean, can you unpack that a little bit more?
Yeah.
It really feels, and I'm sure it feels this way probably for every generation, but it seems that there is a lot of the entitlement disease going around nowadays. That, people feel that they're owed something, right? And then, I remember my mom saying when I was growing up, the world doesn't owe you a living. You have to make your own place in it, and you have to earn it. Nobody has to do that for you. It's your responsibility. How would you speak to that?
That's correct. I think that's absolutely, your mom's right. I think, unfortunately, so many of us are the culprit in this entitlement because maybe we've given kids too much. Maybe we feel like we've gone through some stuff, and so we want them to have an easier life. But, it's not good because the truth of the matter is that it's much harder to learn that lesson through your life, that you will not be handed anything. I say in my book There's no Prince Charming, and I don't mean just a mate. I mean, your boss is not there to save you. The company you work for is not there to save you. No one's there to save you. And it's really through your own hard work and your own discipline and your own self-reliance. You really have to come to the conclusion that you have got to do it yourself. And it takes some people a year, a month, and some people it takes them a lifetime to figure it out, that it's not being handed to you. That to be chosen, you have to choose yourself every day and work every day to get to the next level.
Yep, no question about it. We've got to earn our stripes every day, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah.
But it does pay off. And I think that's why I wanted to write the book, because I think a lot of people are complaining about living hand to mouth and struggling and really not getting ahead. And I say, well, getting to a higher level requires sacrifice. You have to save money. And a lot of young people say to me, I can't. Yes, you can. Mm-hmm. I lived in a $3,000 apartment in New York, and I moved to a $300 fourth floor walk up when I wanted to start a business. Mm-hmm. You have to sacrifice something to get something greater than yourself.
Right. Absolutely. The sign of maturity is the willingness to delay gratification, to not party today, but to save for the future and to sacrifice today for a bigger, longer term goal and a bigger, longer term vision, right?
Yeah, it's funny because I have a lot of friends who say to me now, they go, did you just make way more money than we did? Mm-hmm. And I always say no, but when we were all 30, we all went to Europe, but I went on $100 a day, and you guys went glamorous, mm-hmm. and you guys bought Jaguars, mm-hmm. and you guys went on a lot of trips, and I bought buildings when I was 30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. I love it.
Now, X amount of years later, it looks like I'm like this wealthier person, but in fact, I delayed gratification for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And what people don't realize is that when you're 30, you can go to Europe on $100 a day, and it's super fun, mm-hmm. and it's an adventure. But when you're 50, you're going to want to stay at the Ritz-Carlton.
Right. Absolutely. And if you want to be able to do...
Don't stay at the Ritz-Carlton when you're 30, right. because you're going to blow the money before you're 50.
Yeah, absolutely. And that money, when you save and invest it has this compounding effect. If you don't delay gratification to save and invest, you lose that compounding effect. And it really, really hurts you in the long run. Most people spend money on the appearances of wealth rather than the things that actually create wealth. They're buying the new car, they're going on the expensive vacation, they're buying all the designer clothes, instead of the things that can create the future where you can happily and easily afford those things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. I think this stuff is so grounded. I mean, that's my favorite word, grounded. Mm-hmm. And it's, it really, as I tell people, some things in life you can't predict, but math never fails you. It doesn't.
Love it.
It's predictable.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. So in other words, the math of the investment returns and the math of the compounding can be predicted. The math works.
It's predicted.
And you don't know exactly what the economy will do. It'll go up, down, sideways, of course. But you know that over time, it'll even out, right? It'll average out. And then you just apply the math to that, and you'll be in good shape. Hey, do you think Oprah's going to run for president?
I say in my book, and I think it's a great line, math doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Maybe everyone else will lie to you, but math doesn't lie.
Right. Hey, so what do you think about Oprah? I'm curious. That's a talking point we have on your list here.
I mean, I love Oprah, and I think she's great. I think there's a lot of, what really I learned going on with hidden figure women that are magical and incredible. And they are the women that I really try to put out in the world because, and the men as well, I think there should be a lesser emphasis on celebrity and athletes and a greater emphasis on the people that really have accomplished incredible things and that we can all aspire to be. Mm-hmm. I think that is the key magic of our country.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have great stories and great people.
We do have great stories. There's a lot of Horatio Alger style rags to riches stories out there, and no place has more of them than the United States of America. I think your Cuban background, and I've been to Cuba, is really fascinating and helped you gain a lot of perspective over that. Nely,
really did.
Wrap it up with any closing thoughts and give out your website.
So I think the closing thoughts are, remember mission and money, parallel tracks, and money comes first. Because when you're young and you have time and you have the life force and the energy to have 3 or 4 jobs, 3 or 4 side hustles, do it. And really make the money. If you can check the box on the money first, the rest will come. There's plenty of time to do all the things you wanted to do in life. Like now I have all the time in the world to help women, to go around the country, to talk to families about becoming self-made, because I already made money. Mm-hmm. You do not want to have the issues of money. You left money for last. Get rid of that first. Do it. Make the money, invest it, become self-made, and then enjoy the rest of your life. People can reach me on my website, becomingselfmade.com. And right now, I have these incredible webinars for free that teach people self-made mastery, 3-part series. It's becomingselfmade.com/mastery. Mm-hmm. And you can sign up for these webinars for free. And I just love teaching blow by blow, step by step, in a way that there are no bad questions to people how to become self-made.
Nely, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your great story. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You're such a great interviewer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes. Be sure to check out the show's specific website and our general website, hartmanmedia.com, for appropriate disclaimers and terms of service. Remember that guest opinions are their own, and if you require specific legal or tax advice or advice in any other specialized area, please consult an appropriate professional. And we also very much appreciate you reviewing the show. Please go to iTunes or Stitcher Radio or whatever platform you're using and write a review for the show. We would very much appreciate that. And be sure to make it official and subscribe so you do not miss any episodes. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.